Sure. The question was, I had mentioned earlier about Cheney being told he'd be the head of Halliburton. Can I name names? Yeah, I mean, there may be in my book. I think you can look that up. There was a hunting trip of a number of men. I think we know the names of them. And it's that circle around, sort of the Bush family. A lot of those companies like Brown and Root, and later became Kellogg Brown and Root, and Dresser Industries was controlled by a group of people that the Bush family was involved with back to the 1920s. These are these different companies providing different kinds of oil services and so on. And they have all these interlocking boards of people who are on this and on that and so on, and they all know each other. And, I mean, that's pretty much how things happen everywhere. I mean, how did somebody become the new head of Microsoft? I mean, they don't decide they're going to be the head of it. Somebody else decides that. So I think that's just the way things work. Yeah, the question is, numbers show that a large majority of Americans believe that John F. Kennedy was not killed by one person, that there was a larger operation there. And how, what does that mean that people believe that stuff? People are very comfortable living with internal inconsistencies, and they're perfectly happy to say, oh, yeah, we know, yeah, probably it was the mob. Or, see, the thing is, there are many variations on the conspiracy. It was the mob, it was some disgruntled element, it was a conspiracy, but it was the Russians who were the conspirators, it was the Cubans, or it was anti-Castro Cubans. There are many, many variations. If you, to actually do a proper a poll, you would find that the public would break down into lots of different groups with different theories. If you talk about what percentage actually agrees with the dominant theory of the skilled researchers, the sort of people who've spent decades studying this, there is a general consensus that what happened to John F. Kennedy was some kind of a coup d'etat. That it was very similar to coup d'etats that the United States has been involved in Guatemala and Iran and the Congo and so many different places. Do you need some water? Are you okay? All right. There really is a kind of a consensus on that. I don't know where the public is at accepting that because, again, this is about the mythology. It's about basically America is a good country, and although it does some bad things, the people themselves are inherently good. And so the idea is, yeah, it's true they kill democratically elected people in other countries, but they would never do it here. To which I would reply, well, why would you not take action when the stakes are the highest? If you've got a big company and the Kennedy administration is coming after you, you're not going to sit by. If you didn't sit by when Allende was going to maybe nationalize your bottling plant, why would you sit by when your whole company potentially is threatened at its base? And so I'm not sure how evolved the public is on that, but I do think over the years more and more people accept that. And yet what's quite extraordinary is if you look at the best-selling books on the Kennedy assassination, there are 2 or 3 or 4 of them that are all say that Lee Harvey Oswald did it. And they get all the ink. If you go to the universities and you go to the bookstore and you see what's on the reading list, it's all baloney. And if you go to, again, your favorite, NPR, PBS, this and that, The Nation magazine, they all say that the Warren Commission was right. Now, how is that possible that those good institutions stick to the original story if 60 to 80% of Americans don't buy it? I mean, this is the kind of thing we need to explore. Yeah, the question is, how is it then that the media acts as it does and is so sort of blind, willfully or otherwise? I've spent years thinking about this. I think that the stuff like the term conspiracy theorist has been so effective in sort of inoculating the establishment that journalists know. And by the way, things like what happened to Dan Rather, every so often there's something like that. You probably know about this, the Rolling Stone journalist who died in a one-car crash, the one who did the story about General McChrystal in Afghanistan and so on. I mean, we were one of the few news organizations that started looking at his crash, what he was working on at the time, and so forth. And then it really came out very quickly in the media. Oh, somebody says he had some kind of a drug problem and he was this and that or depressed. They always do that. Well, maybe and maybe not, and we need to look at these things. But I think that there's basically, let me put it this way about journalists. Journalists are like everybody else. They like their job. They enjoy the perks. Kids in college, whatever it is, they want to keep their job, and they know you cannot stick your neck out. In Australia, they call it cutting the tall poppies. People like to say, if you're in Australia, if you stand out as really excellent, people want to cut you down. So they have this kind of brain drain, people leaving Australia because of that. In the United States, if you want to stay in journalism, you know what to do and what not to do. And when you get out of line, bad things happen to you. And so people say, well, look, I'll do what I can, which isn't a lot. I'll do what it is. So the whole system itself is rotten, basically. And that's why we need to invent a whole new journalism. That's why we started Who, What, Why. We don't plan to be small. We plan to be big. With your help, we plan to grow into a major international news organization. We keep our costs low, but we still need support, and we're looking to bring people on board working for us all over the world, and online and video and audio, and tell stories with graphic novel, comic book style drawings and everything, whatever we have to do to reach people. And we particularly, of course, want to reach the younger generation. I mean, here we are right near a college campus, and I'm guessing most of you are not college students. How do we reach them? And what are they doing? They're all off watching House of Cards or something.